Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to review a sci-fi adventure movie. It's called The Primevals. It was released in 2023 after being decades in development and production. It was the passion project of the late stop-motion animator David Allen and released posthumously after his untimely passing. This movie is a classic adventure story in the vein of an Edgar Rice Burroughs novel with special effects in the style of a Ray Harryhausen movie, those early stop-motion animation movies, which I always enjoyed as a kid. And I also just generally love those old school effects movies. So when I heard about this, I was like, I gotta check this out and review it. So without further ado, let's dive into this review. The story kicks off after a Yeti is killed in Nepal. Shortly after, a team of university scientists, led by an Indiana Jones-style protagonist, Matthew Connor, played by Richard Joseph Paul, sets out to uncover the origins of this mysterious creature. Teaming up with a rugged tracker, Rondo Montana, they trek through a snowy wilderness. Then they stumble upon something far beyond their expectations, a hidden primeval land filled with prehistoric creatures, ancient hominids, and an alien reptilian species. I just find it fascinating that a cheesy sci-fi adventure B-movie like this took decades to produce and make. I was not familiar with David Allen or his work before I watched this movie, but when I looked him up, I had found that he had done a lot of cool stuff, particularly in the 80s. He was the stop-motion animator behind such films as Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, as well as the fantasy movie Willow, one of my childhood favorites. Production for The Primevals began in 1994, with most of the scenes filmed in Romania and Italy. However, in 2018, Charles Band of Full Moon Entertainment raised funds to complete Allen's movie and released it in 2023, and so we finally got to see David Allen's vision realized, and it really is a love letter to stop motion animation. Obviously, the plot and characters in this movie are completely irrelevant and secondary to showcasing the special effects. And if, like me, you're a fan of those old school effects, you'll probably really dig this movie, which is harkening back to those Ray Harryhausen films, as I mentioned, and films like Clash of the Titans, which at the time when this was made, it wasn't that far removed from films like Clash of the Titans, which came out in the early 80s. So looking at this movie and thinking about its production history, it's definitely not like a nostalgia piece in the same way as movies are now, because it was still made at a time when stop motion animation and those techniques were, about to be overtaken by digital effects, but were still widely used, particularly in lower budget movies like this. All right, let's turn to the cast here, which honestly is at the level of B-movie acting, as you would expect. Richard Joseph Paul plays this Indiana Jones style hero, and he just has no personality. Juliet Millis is a little more solid as Dr. Claire. I think Leon Russum as Rondo Montana had the best character, and I just loved that guy's over-the-top ruggedness. I mean, the acting and dialogue can be pretty cringeworthy, but hey, that's part of the charm, right? One of the things I love most about The Primevals is that it is jam-packed with every cliche you can find in a sci-fi adventure movie. And I mean that in the best way possible. I mean, you got Yetis, ape men, even those stereotypical aliens with the green skin and big eyes. They even got flying saucers, which just made me laugh. The Primevals isn't striving to be a great or even a good movie. That's not the point, I think. It's really relishing in its cheesiness and over-the-top effects and leaning into those adventure tropes knowingly. It really is a movie that is a time capsule, a relic of an era when stop motion was king and adventure films were just unashamedly over the top. Let me just add here that The Primevals still felt to me like an unfinished work and like a rough draft of a movie. Just felt like certain scenes were lacking in continuity and missing portions, and also felt a little abrupt. Particularly the ending felt a little rushed to me, which may or may not be the case. But Overall, I really enjoyed it. If you're a fan of those old school special effects, this is definitely a must watch. It's just a fun throwback to the golden age of sci fi fantasy. I think there's like a certain glow and softness and mythical charm to stop motion animation that just leans into those adventure movies and really adds something to them that a modern digital effect doesn't quite have. It adds a kind of an element of the tactile. Let me know if you know of this film, if you've seen it, and let me know your thoughts. Share your comments below, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time here.